And like then, today the church is promising to keep its doors open to anyone in need.
By blessing of God, we have to continue our life in Gaza as a Christian community.
Dmitry Medvedenko, Al Jazeera.
Hundreds of Palestinians are back on the streets of Ramallah, meanwhile, to protest against Israel's war on Gaza. There's been growing frustration and anger as the death toll within the occupied West Bank continues to rise. Israel has increased its attacks there as it carries out its assault on Gaza. Nida Ibrahim has more from El Bira in the occupied West Bank.
We've been seeing Palestinian protesters come to this location. It is near the illegal Israeli settlement of Bet El. It is also near an Israeli military checkpoint as well as an Israeli military center that is basically controlling the lives of Palestinians. It is the Israeli entity that basically controls the permits, the population registry. Basically, the day-to-day issue that has to do with the Palestinians has to be decided upon by this entity over here. Now, when we talk about the illegal Israeli settlements, we are talking about mainly land grabs. Palestinians who say that their lands are being emptied out from their residents by the practices of the illegal Israeli settlements and the violent settlers. Been hearing calls from people in a village near Ramallah calling upon the residents to come and help after settlers have attacked Palestinians who were just picking their olives. So they released a drone on top of the Palestinians and then located where their location is before they moved towards them, attacked them, throwing rocks at them. And we've been seeing Palestinians sending out calls for help.
Well, we begin once again. Let's recap rather some breaking news coming out. The military wing of Hamas, the Al-Qassam brigades, is saying it has released now 2 Americans that were taken captive during the group's attack on Israel on October the 7th. The 2 civilians are said to be a mother and her daughter. The spokesperson for the Al-Qassam brigades released the following statement on their Telegram social media account, saying, in response to Qatari efforts, Al-Qassam brigades released 2 American citizens for humanitarian reasons and to prove to the American people and the world that the claims made by Biden and his fascist administration are false and baseless. Imran Khan joins us now live from occupied East Jerusalem. So first of all, Imran, looking at the wording there, does this confirm that in fact they have now been released?
It would seem likely. We're also getting confirmation from Israeli sources speak to Israeli media. According to Channel 12, Israel has confirmed that the 2 American citizens, mother and her daughter, were released by Hamas. They hold dual Israeli-American citizenship. They were transferred to Egypt, were involved in that transfer, and then from Egypt they'll be transferred to Israel. Now the 2 captives are said to be with the International Committee of the Red Cross. But what's interesting is Israeli media, Hebrew media, is actually reporting Israeli sources saying that there was no quid pro quo for this deal, that the Israelis promised them nothing. Now that actually chimes with the Abu Ubaidah statement, the spokesman of Al-Qassam brigades that you just read out there, who said that this was a message to the US rather than to Israel. This was a message to the US for their fascist and baseless claims. The US has been very clear in calling Al-Qassam and calling Hamas terrorists, saying that they're inhumane. So it's likely that this isn't a deal with the Israelis, but it's a message to the Americans. That certainly would chime, as I say, with what Abu Ubaidah was saying.
Nevertheless, Imran, does this hold any indication, since there was apparently some mediation going on involved in this, does it open the door for further mediation, further diplomacy?
Well, the Qatari mediation efforts are the ones that have actually pushed this forward. They'll still be negotiating. We've seen this in the past before, where Qatar have actually reached out to Hamas for different things, not for anything like this. The first time a prisoner exchange like this, or even a prisoner release like this has actually happened. But the Qataris will be looking to do more of this. This is a breakthrough. Whether it leads to more prisoners being released, Hamas have their conditions that they want to meet. But quite separately to this, the US President Joe Biden has confirmed that Rafah crossing will be open in 24 to 48 hours' time. Are these all connected? It's incredibly difficult to say right now. I think the only thing that we can say with any certainty is Qatari mediation efforts have actually worked. In this case, these two dual national citizens have been released, but whether it leads to more releases in the coming hours, in the coming days, we just have to wait and see.
And Imran, what do we know about the two captives who have been released, their identities, their condition, and so on?
We won't know identities. Even the Israelis will keep that quiet for a little while until they're actually probably on Israeli soil. Right now, they're in Egypt. They need to get from Egypt to Israel. The Israelis will keep that quiet. They probably won't release that kind of information out of respect to the family. So all we really know is that they are dual US-Israeli citizens, and there is a mother and a child.
All right, we'll leave it there. Thanks so much for Imran Khan there updating us on the situation from occupied East Jerusalem. Just to recap, an announcement there by the Al-Qassam Brigades, that's the military wing of Hamas, announcing that they have released two of those hostages, a mother and her daughter, they say, on humanitarian grounds due to Qatari diplomacy. Well, Israel has stepped up raids on towns and cities in the occupied West Bank. At least 13 Palestinians were killed there on Thursday. More pictures of confrontations between Palestinians and Israeli forces have been posted on social media. The latest violence happened in the Isa area of Hebron. Israeli forces also fought with Palestinians in the Shuafat refugee camp in occupied East Jerusalem. There are currently no reports of casualties. Charles Stratford is at the North Shems refugee camp with more details.
You join us inside the Nur Shams refugee camp. The trucks you can see behind me are endeavouring, or going to be moving, some of these destroyed civilian vehicles that you can see. This area has got a number of smashed cars, and that's because it was only a few hours ago that Israeli forces left this camp. The scenes of destruction in various areas within the camp. We understand that at least 13 people were killed here. Those Israeli forces came in to Nur Shams around 3 a.m. on Thursday morning. The people who live here say that they estimate that there could have been up to 200 Israeli soldiers that came in. They destroyed 5, we understand, homes. They're saying belonging to civilians. We know Israel's military policy is to destroy homes of those people who they think are fighters. People here are denying that. But amongst the 13 people killed, 7 of them were children. 2 of those kids only 10 years old. So, yeah, you can imagine the people here are trying to pick up the pieces and are very angry indeed. Some of them that we've spoken to want revenge. They are obviously angry about what's happening in Gaza, but they're also very angry about what they say are the completely ineffectual efforts of the international community to stop Israel in its onslaught of the Gaza Strip. And of course, since that onslaught started, or so I should say, since those Hamas attacks inside Israel, we know that it's around 900 people have been arrested from the occupied West Bank. We understand that there are at least 10 people from this refugee camp that were taken alone last night. So, yeah, another indication of the